After 6 years of hiding, a shy girl meets her millionaire doctor. What happens next is incredible. The moment Sarah laid eyes on Dr. Alex Thompson, it felt like the clouds broke open, spilling sunlight into her shaded existence. 6 years of ghosting through life hidden behind a wall of overwhelming shyness built by pain seemed to collapse in that instant. He was back in the neighborhood where he grew up, a charming smile danced across his face as he reunited with old friends, and her heart raced like never before. This was the doctor everyone talked about, the one with wealth and ambition. Yet here he was, among them, breathing life into her mundane, guarded world. "Mom, can we please go to the community center?" Sarah stammered hesitantly that evening, knowing her mother would protest. He might be there. Her mother, ever the sentinel of Sarah's fragile heart, shook her head. "We don't belong there, honey. It's not for us." But Sarah felt the tug of hope, a whisper urging her to step out of the shadows. Despite her mother's fears, tiny applause of courage began to swell inside her. The following Saturday, with quiet determination, Sarah put on her best, even if it was slightly worn, dress and slipped out of the apartment while her mother watched TV. The vibrant chatter of her neighbors at the center wrapped around her like a comforting hug, almost intoxicating. And then she saw him, Alex, laughing with the kids, his laughter bouncing off the walls, lighting up the room. Their eyes met, and her breath caught, a moment stretched infinitely. "Hey, you're new around here," he smiled, making her heart flutter and her palms sweat. She stuttered, I come here sometimes, just not often." And in that brief exchange, something awakened in her, a flicker of connection that quickly intensified with each shared conversation, games at the center, and community projects. He could see her, not just the timid girl but the soul beneath, fighting to emerge. But with every passing day of joy came a weight pulling her down, the expectations of her mother pressing harder against her. "You need to focus on the future and not get distracted." Her voice echoed in Sarah's mind. The familiar knot of guilt tightened in her stomach every time she chose to visit Alex instead of hiding safely at home. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But as whispers of financial trouble swirled around their home, Sarah's heart raced with fear and insecurity, threatening to unravel everything she'd begun to build. Rumors slithered through the community like dark shadows. Could Alex, with his wealth, ever embrace her with her family's struggles hanging like a cloud overhead? Her reality spun, and just when she thought she might break free, she learned that the world outside was not as forgiving as the brief moments of connection she found with Alex. Torn between her mother's love and the hope for a life filled with genuine affection, Sarah stood at a perilous crossroad. Will she muster the courage to reach for that unexpected spark of love, or will the shadows of fear pull her back into the darkness? As the tension thickened, Sarah could feel her heart pounding louder than ever. The lines between hope and despair blurred, and the question lingered like a soft echo: was she truly worthy of the joy she felt, or was it all just a fleeting dream? The next Saturday, Sarah stood outside the community center, nerves swirling in her stomach like a fierce storm. She hesitated, her hand hovering over the door handle. Just yesterday, her mother had thrown out another fear-laden comment about their strained finances, making Sarah's resolve waver like a fragile flame in the wind. What if Alex found out and turned away? But there he was, mingling with the laughter of children, his smile infectious. Taking a deep breath, she pushed through the door, vibrant conversation surrounding her like warm sunlight. She spotted him immediately, sitting at a low table, helping a group of kids build colorful structures with blocks. The way he interacted with them, exuding warmth and genuine joy, made her heart swell. "Hey, Sarah." Alex looked up and waved, his eyes brightening at the sight of her. "Hi," she whispered, a nervous smile creeping onto her face as she made her way over. "Join us?" he asked, patting the empty seat beside him. For the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of belonging wash over her. "Sure." She sat, trying to hide the impact his mere presence had on her. They spent the next hour playing and laughing, the children's giggles joining the melody of their shared moments. Yet even in happiness, shadows loomed in Sarah's mind like dark clouds on a sunny day. She feared each moment spent with him would crumble under the weight of her reality. Every time he responded to her with laughter or a kind gesture, that little voice inside whispered, "You don't deserve this. Not with your family's troubles." As Alex packed up the toys, he leaned closer, concern etched on his face. "Everything okay? You seem a bit distant." I'm just." Her voice trailed off, the words tangled in her throat as she struggled to articulate the fear of being unworthy. He studied her for a moment, and she could sense the gentle conviction behind his gaze. "If something is bothering you, you can always talk to me." His sincerity made her heartbeat quicken. He wasn't just the millionaire doctor, he was a kind soul who genuinely cared. But would he feel the same way if he learned about her mother's financial struggles? Would he still want to know her if he discovered the family secrets lurking behind closed doors? Sarah's mind raced as she wrestled with the internal brawl of emotions. "I'm just worried about my Sarah." The booming voice of a community member interrupted her, summoning her to help with a project across the room. She felt a wave of relief and disappointment crash over her. The distraction offered her a way out, but it also pulled her further from Alex. "Just a sec." She called back, forcing a smile. But as she turned to leave, she caught a glance of Alex. He stood there, a frown of concern on his face that sent pangs through her chest. Could she keep running away, or was this her chance to be brave? What if this unexpected spark could change everything for her? What if facing the truth about her family would clear the path to her heart's desire? Sarah had a choice to make, but would she choose love or continue down the path of fear? All she knew was that the moment of decision was drawing closer, and the consequences could shape the rest of her life. As the afternoon sun cast long shadows on the playground, she took a deep breath, feeling the weight of uncertainty ground her. Would the courage to be honest set her free, or could it trap her in chains made of doubt? With each step across the community center, Sarah felt the call of her name echo through the air. The warmth from Alex was intoxicating, yet the shadows of her worries loomed larger with every heartbeat. The project requiring her attention was just a short distraction, but it propelled her deeper into a corner of her mind she desperately wanted to escape. She joined the cluster of volunteers, aligning herself with familiar faces. But her eyes kept drifting to Alex, his effortless laughter mingling with the kids. A pang of envy bubbled inside her. How could he be so carefree when she was haunted by the weight of her family's struggles? Focusing on the task at hand, a mural for the community center was her refuge. But as she applied the paintbrush to the surface, her hand trembled. Every stroke felt symbolic of the truth she was avoiding. She pictured her mother's worried face, the late-night arguments about bills, the ever-present fear of losing their home. How could she introduce someone like Alex into this chaos? "Hey, Sarah! Look!" a child exclaimed, breaking her concentration. As she turned, a little girl showed her a miniature model of a house they were building. An idea sparked in Sarah. There was so much hope in that small structure, fortified by teamwork and laughter. Perhaps there was a way to build her own support system. "That's beautiful," Sarah encouraged, her heart swelling with warmth. Yet, in the core of her joy, a new fear emerged. What if she could never let Alex in? What if their paths were forever destined to intersect but never truly connect? Hours slipped by, as the mural began to transform into something vibrant under their hands. Yet as sunset approached, a nagging sensation festered inside her. She tried to push it away, but the need for honesty loomed larger than before. Finally, the project concluded, and applause erupted from the crowd. People gathered around the mural, admiring their collective work. But Sarah only felt the pull of silence between her and Alex. He caught her eye amidst the crowd and walked over, a casual smile on his lips. "You were great," he said, excitement brightening his features. But the smile faded slightly when he noticed her hesitant demeanor. "You okay? You still seem a bit off." Sarah took a deep breath. The moment was ripe, but an invisible barrier held her back. "I'm fine," she managed, yet the word tasted untrue in her mouth. He glanced toward the crowd, then back at her. "You know, being fine is not the same as being happy." Those words pierced through her facade. The honesty gripped her like a lifeline. Could she trust him with the truth? Alex's gentle gaze invited her to step beyond her fears, daring her to connect. Just then, someone shouted, "Sarah, come join the celebration." She turned, but a flash of vulnerability stopped her. Alex's expression encouraged her to take a chance, but doubt pulled her back. How could she reveal everything when she didn't even know if he would stick around after hearing it? Before she could articulate her thoughts, a little girl tugged at her shirt, urging her to join the others for a group photo. Reluctantly, Sarah nodded. The moment passed, but the decision inside her began to bubble once more. As she posed alongside the children, laughter surrounded her like a lifeline. Yet when she stole a glance back at Alex, his smile revealed a hint of worry. His eyes were deep pools, reflecting a promise of understanding, of support, but would it still be there if she spoke her truth? Could this be the moment she dared to let him in? And as the camera click echoed, ringing through her mind, one question remained: what if revealing her truth could break down every wall she had built around her heart? The celebration was in full swing, a whirlwind of joy that wrapped around Sarah like a soft quilt. But deep within, her heart was racing for an entirely different reason. It pounded with the urgency of the words she had yet to speak. The camera clicked, capturing smiles, but it felt like time was freezing as her gaze stayed locked on Alex. He waved at her, his eyes sparkling with something that felt like hope. It made her gut twist. Alex could easily slip out of her life without ever needing to know the mess she harbored. But why was that so tempting? Maybe she could keep this safe, sunny version of herself intact. "Hey, Sarah." A voice broke her train of thought. A young boy, eyes glowing with laughter, tugged at her arm. "Look how many stickers we got. Can you help me stick them on the mural?" "Sure." She replied hesitantly, the boy's enthusiasm a balm to her unsettled mind. As they resumed work on the mural, she lost herself in the vibrant colors, but behind every bright shade was a shadow of her reality. Every brush stroke felt like a decision choosing to create someone others would love without showing the turmoil underneath. Yet, there was Alex, still watching her, still emanating kindness that felt so foreign. The world around them began to fade, and it was only the two of them in the moment, suspended in possibility. Her thoughts spiraled: if she let him in, what would he see? A new wave of laughter broke through, pulling her from her reverie. She glanced around at the other volunteers and their laughter. They were all living in a carefree bubble, but she was tethered by the weight of her fears. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, painting the community center in shades of gold, Sarah made a decision. Each child ran past her, shiny stickers in hand, but she stood still, her heart ready to burst. "Alex," she called out, her voice shaky but empowered. He turned, the openness in his gaze urging her forward. "Yeah." She took a deep breath, the words hanging between them like a tightrope. "Can we talk?" His expression shifted, shifting from playful to serious. "Sure, what's on your mind?" "Not here," she whispered, the fear edging back in. "Can we step outside?" He nodded, concern washing over his features. They stepped out into the evening air, the chatter inside fading to a hum. Outside, the world felt different, quieter, but also charged. The sunset washed everything in a glow, highlighting her doubts. Sarah struggled to speak. "There's something I need to tell you," she began, hating how small her voice sounded. He looked her straight in the eyes, searching for the truth behind her apprehension. "Take your time. I'm here." For a moment, the silence was heavy. She could feel the heart in her chest, the walls she had built around her feelings ready to crumble. She wanted to be brave, to reveal the turmoil that colored her days. But fear entwined with that desire. What if he didn't want to deal with her problems? "Sarah?" Alex's voice sliced through her questions. "I won't judge you, I promise." His unwavering gaze pushed her towards honesty. Deep breath in. Hold it. Let it out. This was the moment where everything could change. But just as she was ready to speak, a shout echoed from the community center, drawing their attention away. "Sarah! We need you for the final reveal." Distracted, her heart sank. The moment felt stolen. She hesitated, glancing at Alex, whose face was a mixture of expression, curiosity, concern, and maybe a little bit of disappointment. She was torn. The call for her would stretch her thin, away from the moment, the truth she was hesitating to share. Could she risk it, or would she let fear seal her fate? "Just wait," she started, but as the invitation lingered, so did the question: would she lose this opportunity to connect, to share her life? And with that, standing on the precipice, she took a step closer to Alex. "Wait for me, I'll be right back." But as she turned to head inside, the swirl of uncertainty clouded her heart again. What if this moment passed her by? Would there be another? What would happen next? Sarah rushed back inside, her feet carrying her through the jubilant crowd. Voices intertwined in a chorus of excitement, but all she could hear was the thundering of her own heartbeat. She felt like a balloon ready to burst, filled with unspoken thoughts and emotions. As she rejoined the group, she caught sight of the mural. It loomed large and bright, a chaotic mix of colors and shapes, much like her own feelings. Shiny stickers adorned it, each one a testament to joy, laughter, and connection. The other volunteers cheered, their faces glowing with pride as they prepared for the final reveal. "Sarah! Over here!" One of the organizers waved her over, a grin stretching wide on her face. "We really want you to help us pull off this last surprise." They gathered around the mural, and Sarah plastered on a smile, even as her heart ached for the honest conversation she had almost shared with Alex. The moment felt like slipping sand through her fingers, and with every cheer and laugh, the heaviness returned. On the count of 3, everyone. 1, 2, 3. They pulled back the sheet covering the mural to unveil a burst of color and creativity. The crowd erupted into applause, every face reflecting joy. Sarah joined in the clapping, but her thoughts were elsewhere. She scanned the room for Alex, hoping he had stayed. Finally, her eyes landed on him near the back, clapping along with the others, a proud smile on his face. He caught her gaze and, for a brief moment, the world around them faded. They exchanged a knowing glance and unspoken agreement that something important needed to be said. But as the applause died down and the volunteers started to disperse, the weight of what she hadn't said pressed heavy against her chest. While everyone else celebrated, Sarah felt the ground beneath her shift. She turned back to the ringing laughter and joyful chatter, but the noise blurred into an echo. Just as she was stepping away to find a quiet corner, a little girl with curly hair and a colorful dress approached her. "I loved working on the mural with you." The girl beamed. "You made it so pretty." "Thank you." Sarah smiled back, the child's innocence wrapping around her like a warm hug. "You did a great job too." The girl grinned wider and dashed off to find her friends, leaving Sarah with a pang of longing, a reminder of the simple connection she craved with Alex. "Sarah!" The organizer's voice disrupted her thoughts again, this time pulling her away from engaging with the little girl. "We're going to take a group photo now. Come on." Everyone shuffled into place, laughter bubbling up again. Sarah hesitated, torn again, her eyes darting across the room. This was all great, but still, she felt a piece of herself far away, lost alongside her chance with Alex. As she lined up for the photo, she could see him on the edge of the group, his expression thoughtful. Was he waiting for her? The photographer readied his camera, and she whispered to herself, "This isn't over yet." Just as the camera clicked, Sarah suddenly blurred the lines between celebration and fear. "I'll find the courage," she whispered inwardly. With that thought surging through her, the photo clicked, and while the laughter erupted anew, an almost imperceptible shift touched her heart. The moment felt electric as she caught one last glance at Alex. What if this was her only chance? What if she never had the courage again? After the picture, she broke free from the group, her heart pounding with purpose. She'd missed him once. She wasn't going to do it again. "Alex!" she called, weaving through the crowd, determination igniting her steps. But as she neared him, another voice cut through the chaos. "Hey Alex, can I talk to you for a moment?" It was a boy from the neighborhood, tall and confident, approaching Alex with a grin. Sarah paused, unease flooding in. Would she have to wait again? Her resolve wavered, but in that moment, she understood this was about not letting fear rob her of what mattered most. "Excuse me," she interjected, surprising even herself. But even as she spoke, doubt crept back. What if I mess this up? The boy turned to her, eyebrows raised, while Alex looked at her with those deep, reassuring eyes. The tension of uncertainty hung thick in the air as she stood there, poised to seize her moment. Would she finally say the words that had been bottled up for so long? Would this be the moment where everything changed, or the moment where she held back once more? As the chatter continued around her, she felt an invisible tie to both fear and longing. She took a deep breath, ready to leap into the unknown. "Excuse me," Sarah repeated, her voice stronger this time. The boy glanced between her and Alex, confusion flickering on his face. Okay," he said, stepping back but still blocking her path. "I was just without thinking." Sarah took a bold step forward. "I need to talk to Alex first," she said, braving the pit forming in her stomach. She felt a rush of confidence wash over her, as if the mural's vibrant colors had seeped into her very being and ignited her spirit. Alex looked at her, his expression shifting from surprise to a warm knowing. "Hey, what's up?" he asked, his voice inviting. Sarah hesitated, the earlier flutter of courage wavering momentarily. Everyone around them faded into the background. She could feel the weight of the moment, of all the times she had held back, saturating the air between them. "Can we talk somewhere private?" she finally managed, her heart racing as she gestured toward a quieter corner of the community center that wasn't overflowing with conversation and laughter. "Sure," he said, glancing at the other boy who stepped away, sensing the urgency in the air. They moved to a small alcove just off the main hall, away from the crowd's joy and noise. The lights dimmed slightly in that secluded space, and it felt like their own little world. Sarah took a breath, the silence amplifying the echo of her heartbeats. "So what did you want to say?" Alex asked, his tone casual but laced with a sincerity that made her nerves dance. Sarah swallowed hard. Words hovered at the tip of her tongue, but she needed a moment. She remembered the spark of creativity and joy in the mural, the little girl's cheers, and the simple beauty of connection. She wanted to share not just her feelings but the essence of what had been bubbling up inside her for too long. "I haven't been honest," she finally said, locking her gaze with his. "Not with you, or even myself. Things have been complicated." Alex nodded, his expression encouraging. "I get it. Sometimes it's hard to put feelings into words." "Yeah," she said, heart racing. "It's just that I've liked you for a long time, Alex, longer than I thought I would." The words spilled out before the doubt could catch up. She felt lighter, free. "I've been waiting for what felt like the right moment, but maybe there isn't a perfect time." A smile broke across Alex's face, brightening the dim corner. "You mean that?" "Because I've been waiting for you too." Her breath caught in her chest. "What?" Honestly, I was worried I'd say the wrong thing, ruin our friendship, he confessed, stepping a little closer. But the truth is, I like you, Sarah. A lot. Sweet relief washed over her, but it only fueled the fire inside. Then why did you wait? Why are we hiding? Alex ran a hand through his hair, exuding a mix of sheepishness and determination. I was scared too. I thought you wouldn't feel the same or that we'd ruin what we had. But seeing you with the mural, how you were so present with everyone, I realized how much I wanted to take the chance, to see what we could be. A warmth radiated in her chest, mingling with the fear of not knowing where this new path might lead. So what do we do next? She asked, her voice softer now. I think we figure it out together, he said, his eyes sparkling with possibility. Let us start by not hiding anymore. Just as she felt herself bloom under Alex's gaze, a loud crash echoed from the main hall, followed by a chorus of surprised gasps. Did you hear that? Alex said, shifting back toward the noise. What if someone needs help? Sarah asked, an excitement building inside her as she realized that perhaps this adventure was just beginning. Perhaps it meant stepping out of the shadows not just for herself, but for everyone around her too. They exchanged quick glances, and in that moment, without exchanging another word, they nodded in unison. Let us go, Sarah breathed, her heart pounding again not just with fear, but with newfound courage. As they stepped back into the fray, the chaos surrounding them felt alive with potential. Everything was changing, and the open space before them seemed filled with uncharted possibilities. But before they could reach the crowd, a voice called from behind them. Hey, Sarah! Wait up! It was the little girl from before, a wide-eyed urgency written across her face. You need to come see this. Sarah exchanged a glance with Alex, her excitement building again. What awaited them on the other side of this next moment? Would their path forward solidify, or would the world shift unexpectedly around them once more? Wait, what is it? Sarah asked, turning to face the girl, her heart quickening once more. The little girl bounced on her toes, eyes sparkling. You have to see. It's amazing! She exclaimed, grabbing Sarah's hand and pulling her towards the chaos. As they rushed back into the main hall, Sarah glanced over her shoulder at Alex, who kept pace beside her, a look of equal parts concern and curiosity on his face. The sounds of laughter and music had shifted, replaced by a cacophony of excited voices. It felt electric, like the moment just before a fireworks show begins. When they burst into the main area, Sarah's breath hitched. A colorful banner had fallen from the wall, and underneath it, a clump of children darted around in a flurry of giggles. In the center of it all, her mural now had pieces of paper sticking out of it, colorful notes from her community, each one a message of hope, love, or thankfulness. Look! The girl shouted, pointing at the small gathering. They made it for you. Sarah couldn't breathe. Everyone, from kids to parents, had taken the time to write on those pieces of paper, filling the space with words she had never expected to connect with her art. She stepped closer, knees feeling weak as she read snippets. Thank you for the mural. You inspire me. Your art makes the world beautiful. All the fears that had held her hostage began to unravel, thread by thread. The weight of her silence, the uncertainty of stepping out seemed insignificant compared to the rush of love and acceptance pouring from those notes. Sarah, look at this one. Alex called from behind her, holding up a note that read, You are so brave. Keep going. She turned, and their eyes met, a shared understanding blooming in that chaotic moment. I can't believe this, she whispered, the words more a prayer than a statement. Neither can I, Alex said, stepping closer so their arms brushed. Isn't it beautiful? The girl chimed in, tugging at Sarah's sleeve. Everyone loves you. Laughter bubbled up inside her, mixing with the tears threatening to spill. Today was not just about art, it was about the power of connection, about allowing herself to be seen. Then, just as she collected herself, a loud voice cut through the joy. "Excuse me. Excuse me." A man in a suit pushed through the throng, urgency painted on his face. The moment shifted again, everyone's attention drawn towards him. "Is there a Sarah Morris here?" he called out, eyes scanning the crowd. Sarah's stomach dropped. The way he spoke was serious, like something important was about to happen. Alex squeezed her hand, grounding her. "That's me," Sarah replied hesitantly, her heart thudding in her chest. The man stepped closer. "I need to talk to you about your art," he said, glancing quickly at the notes adorning the mural. "It's about a wonderful opportunity, but we need to go somewhere private." Something shifted again within her. This was what she had dreamed of, but now a new wave of uncertainty crashed over her. She glanced back at Alex. "Is it okay?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Fear mingled with excitement and an overwhelming urge to take a chance flooded her. "If you want to go, I'm right here," Alex assured, that steady warmth in his eyes never faltering. Sarah took a deep breath, the thrill of the unknown wrapping around her like a comforting blanket. This could be her moment, the chance to step even further into the light. But uncertainty lingered in the air, as did the echoes of her past. What awaited her beyond the immediate thrill? Gathering her courage, she nodded to the man. "Okay, let us talk." She felt Alex's hand slip from hers, a bittersweet pulse of longing. But then he smiled, encouraging her to take the leap. As they moved away, her heart swelled with the promise of possibility. What was waiting behind that door? Would she finally step into the life she had always dreamed of, or would this new opportunity turn her world upside down again? And just as a new chapter began to unfold, the echoes of her past whispered in her ear. As Sarah followed the man through the crowd, her pulse quickened. The buzz of voices faded into the background, each step feeling heavier with the weight of expectation. She caught a fleeting glimpse of Alex, surrounded by the vibrant chaos, his face a mixture of excitement and concern. But there was little time to dwell on that, her attention shifted to the man leading her. He guided her into a small office tucked away from the noise. The door clicked shut behind them, enveloping them in a hush. Sarah could feel her heart racing, each beat echoing in the silence. The walls were painted a calming blue, contrasting sharply with the storm of thoughts swirling in her mind. "Thank you for coming," the man said, adjusting his tie nervously as he pulled out a chair and indicated for her to sit. "I'm Martin Roberts, an art curator for the city." Art curator. The title hung in the air like a promise. She sat, suddenly aware of the bright colors of her mural still lingering in her mind. "Nice to meet you, Martin," she replied, doing her best to steady her voice. "First of all, I want to tell you how incredibly impactful your mural is," he said, leaning forward with sincerity. "Your work has truly resonated with the community. We've received so much positive feedback. It's not just a mural, it's become a symbol of hope." A rush of warmth flooded through her, almost tangible. She could hardly believe it. "I'm here today," he continued, "because I'd like to offer you a chance to showcase your work in our upcoming exhibition." A solo show. A solo show. The words buzzed around her head like a cloud of confetti, threatening to spill over. Each syllable was like a dream, one she had tucked away in the deepest part of her heart. Sarah blinked, trying to absorb his words. "You want me to have my own show?" She could hardly manage to keep the disbelief from her voice. "Absolutely. You have a gift, and art needs to be seen. This is your chance to step into the limelight," he said, his eyes gleaming with certainty. A smile crept onto her lips, the tiniest flicker of hope igniting within her. Yet, beneath that excitement was a current of fear, a shadow of doubt. "But what if I'm not ready? What if no one comes to see it?" The words tumbled out before she could stop them. Martin held her gaze, unwavering. "Those feelings are normal. But being an artist means embracing the unknown. You have the community behind you, Sarah. They believe in you. Don't you see? This is your moment to embrace your voice. The moment hung in the air, heavy with possibilities yet tinged with the uncertainty she had lived with for so long. The words of the colorful notes flashed across her mind, each one a thread of encouragement woven into the fabric of her art. As the excitement swirled around her heart and clashed with the fears she'd known for years, another thought crept in. This wasn't just about her art anymore, it was about the connections she made, the people she inspired. I think I want to do it, she finally said, determination trickling into her words. A wide smile spread across Martin's face. Wonderful. We can start planning your show right away. As they dove into details, Sarah felt the walls of her past slip away. The millions of insecurities she'd harbored seemed to dissolve, replaced by a new, thrilling adventure. Yet, despite the excitement building within her, shadowy questions lingered at the back of her mind. What would this new journey mean for her and for Alex? Would he still believe in her when the spotlight grew bright? Just then, a knock on the door interrupted her thoughts. It was Alex, his worried expression telling her that he'd been waiting. "Can I come in?" he asked, stepping into the room. The connection between them felt electric yet delicate. She could sense he was eager to hear what had transpired, but fear loomed as well. What would she tell him? Would he stand by her side, or would this new chapter create a rift they couldn't bridge? In that moment, uncertainty hit Sarah like a cold wave. As she prepared to speak, the world around her faded into quiet. Anticipation. What would happen next, and could this opportunity truly change everything for her? The moment Alex stepped into the room, a part of Sarah felt like she was caught in a spotlight with all the weight of the universe on her shoulders. His eyes, those deep wells of warmth and concern, searched hers. She opened her mouth, unsure if she was ready for what might come tumbling out of her heart. "Hey," he said softly, taking a cautious step closer. "What happened in here?" Before she could respond, Martin stood up, a polite smile gracing his face. "I'm Martin Roberts. It's a pleasure to meet you." He extended a hand towards Alex. "I was just offering Sarah a chance to showcase her work in an upcoming exhibition." For a brief moment, the air was thick with tension. Sarah watched as the gears turned in Alex's mind. She couldn't miss the flicker of surprise in his eyes, followed by a spark of pride. "A solo show?" he repeated, his voice brightening, then shifting as he took a step back and clasped his hands together, like he was trying to manage his own excitement and apprehension. "That's amazing, Sarah." His genuine enthusiasm warmed her heart, pushing away the cold grip of doubt. "I really want to do it, Alex. I think I have to," she confessed, feeling the confession tumble out like an unwritten promise. Martin cleared his throat lightly, readying himself to interject. "I believe this is a crucial moment for her, and a solo show could do wonders for both of you. Your art can inspire, especially now, when we need hope more than ever." Sarah caught the shift in Alex's expression, and a wave of worry washed over her. Could this journey mean she would be stepping away from him? She couldn't ignore the discomfort in her gut as the thought resonated. This opportunity could mean more time alone, more focus on her art, and potentially sailing into unknown waters. "Are you sure you're ready for this, Sarah?" Alex asked, his tone grounding but edged with concern. "It's a big step. Things might change." Nodding, she felt the truth behind his words resonate through her. She was ready for change, but did that mean risking the closeness she cherished between them? "I want to embrace this, I want to see where it takes me." But what if the question hung between them, almost too heavy to voice? What if it pulls us apart? Martin, sensing the weight of that unspoken fear, added a gentle note. "I've seen opportunities like this bring people together, not tear them apart. It really depends on how both of you handle what comes next." A silence settled in, thick with unspoken feelings. Sarah could feel the latent tension in Alex's frame, the yearning desire for clarity. "I want to support you," he said eventually, his voice breaking like the dawn filtering through heavy clouds, soft but resolute. But it means being open, it means trusting each other. Trust. The word echoed around them, an anchor amongst the chaos. She wanted to leap into this adventure, to drown her fears in splashes of paint and daring color. But what if the colors of this experience started to blend them apart? "I'll make time for us," she promised him, feeling a flicker of resolve catch fire in her chest. No matter what. The corner of his mouth twitched upwards, though his eyes still held a hint of worry. "I believe in you, Sarah. Just don't forget I'm always here, waiting for you to come back." The knot in her stomach tightened as she held on to that promise. But what if coming back became a challenge she hadn't anticipated? A tug-of-war between ambition and affection brewed within her. All at once, an ache to move forward and a need to hold on tied in a complicated knot. As the three of them began discussing the plans, the excitement was palpable, but Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that looming challenges were just around the corner. Then another knock interrupted their conversation, the door creaking open just enough to reveal a young woman with a clipboard. "I'm so sorry to interrupt. They need you both for the group discussion," she said, glancing at Martin, then at Sarah and Alex. "Looks like it's time to step back into the crowd," Martin said, the excitement in his voice a stark contrast to Sarah's growing anxiety. As she took a deep breath, letting the air fill her lungs, she felt the rush of uncertainty and exhilaration mingle together. Deep down, she knew stepping into the unknown was her only option. Yet, the quickening of her pulse reminded her that she was not in this alone. "Together?" she whispered to Alex, an unspoken promise hanging delicately in the air. He nodded, resolute. "Together." With that, they moved forward, but as they stepped into the chaotic buzz of the gallery, Sarah couldn't help but wonder, would they emerge from this experience even closer, or would it draw lines that could never be crossed? The colors of her future were vivid and radiant, but shadows loomed in the corners. What awaited them both as they embraced the uncertainty? In the days that followed, the community buzzed with excitement about Sarah's upcoming exhibition. Flyers filled the local coffee shops, and her mural became a backdrop for stories shared amongst friends and family. For Sarah, the thrill of anticipation blended with an undercurrent of anxiety. Every stroke of her brush around that mural whispered her hopes, but the weight of those same hopes pressed down like a heavy cloak. But that's when Alex stepped in. He was by her side, helping her prepare for the show. Together, they hung her paintings and arranged the space, filling it with colors that danced under the gallery lights. Every time their hands brushed, sparks of warmth ignited the air around them, reminding them of the connection they had forged. "Can you believe this?" Sarah marveled, stepping back to look at what they created together. The room glowed with her art, vibrant reflections of her journey. "You've come so far," Alex said, his voice rich with admiration. She turned to him, and in that moment, she felt the lingering doubts about their future dissolve like sugar in warm water. "I just want you to know how much I believe in you." His heartfelt words wrapped around her, and a lightness spread through her chest. For the first time since receiving Martin's offer, she felt truly ready for what lay ahead. "Thanks, Alex. I couldn't have done this without you," she replied, her heart full. But beneath that joy lay a tremor of uncertainty. Their bond had sparked with each shared moment, but would it sustain beyond the gallery walls? The night of the exhibition arrived amidst showers of warm applause and laughter. Friends, neighbors, and strangers mingled, their faces painted with pride, excitement bubbling through the air like champagne. As guests glanced at her paintings, she saw smiles and emotions reflected on their faces. It was adrenaline and fear all at once, she felt alive. Among the throng, Alex stood at the entrance, an unwavering beacon. He welcomed everyone, his presence reassuring. She saw him chatting with a couple who admired her work, and the way he spoke made her smile. He was her rock, and she felt that deep down. The moment of the official unveiling arrived, and the room hushed. Sarah took center stage, heart racing as she faced the crowd. "Thank you all for coming tonight," she began, her voice steady in the still air. This isn't just my art, it's a reflection of our community, the strength we share, the connections we build. As she spoke, she made eye contact with Alex, and his proud smile washed over her like sunlight breaking through the clouds. Cheers erupted, and Sarah felt her knees wobble. She realized this moment was about more than her art. It was also about revealing herself, about letting the world see both her strength and vulnerability. "Thank you for believing in me," she said, glancing at the familiar faces of friends, neighbors, and Alex. "And for helping me embrace who I am." The audience erupted in applause, and Sarah's heart swelled. That night, as the sun sank behind the horizon and faded stars peeked into the sky, all her fears fell away. She had taken the leap. She had chosen to let people in, to embrace her insecurities, and now, she felt the weight lift. In the days that followed, her art gained more recognition, but more importantly, Sarah felt empowered. Transformations bloomed as she poured heart and soul into canvas after canvas. Each piece told a story of resilience, friendships, and love. She learned to balance her ambitions with her relationships. Alex's laughter kept her light while she held on to the warmth of the community behind her. One evening, as they strolled through the park, hand in hand, Sarah turned to Alex. "I want to share my next project with you," she beamed. "It's about us, about everything we've been through. Can't wait to see it." His eyes sparkled as he squeezed her hand. They spent the summer seeking adventure, supporting each other's dreams, and diving into their shared passions. Alex offered her inspiration, and she became a muse for him too. Their love blossomed amidst the chaos of life, intertwining like vibrant threads in a tapestry. Months later, Sarah stood in front of a new canvas, colors spilling out like visions of hope. She smiled, knowing now that she was worthy not only of love but of success. She had transformed every fear, every worry into vibrant splashes of color on her canvas. As she stepped back and admired her new piece, she thought about the journey. It wasn't just about finding her voice or creating beautiful art, it was about the connections, the friendships that emerged, the tides of community that lifted her when she felt small. At the heart of it all was Alex, standing proudly beside her, lighting up her world in a way she never imagined possible. Love had pulled her from the shadows, urging her to find courage and step into the dazzling brightness of life. Together, they wrote their own story, a testament to fundamentally changing not only each other's lives but also the lives around them. "Ready for this?" Sarah asked, glancing at Alex, who nodded, excitement glimmering in his eyes. "Always," he replied, and the world felt perfectly aligned, vibrant and alive. And with that, Sarah picked up her brush once more, ready for the next adventure, nestled deep in the arms of love. If you've loved this journey, it's time to make your voice heard. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories that inspire. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, you know it makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about this empowering ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to show your support now, because this is your moment to uplift a community that thrives on connection. Don't wait not even one more second to share.